welcome to the Sounds of Stadia Podcast, episode number 82. You're joining myself, Chris, one of the hosts, alongside my lovely two co-hosts, the techie teacher himself, Mr. Tom.
Howdy doody, everyone. Feeling nice and fresh today.
And below him, maybe feeling not so fresh, the man of many pixels, Mr. Richie.
Yeah, Tom's just rubbing it in because I was up to about 4 o'clock in the morning last night, so I'm a bit weary at the moment.
Oh, I feel your pain, Richie. But we're all here. We've got our fresh trims. The hairdresser's opened here in the UK. We're all feeling good, albeit a bit tired. And we are here to bring you, lovely viewers and listeners, all of the Stadia in gaming news in what is the longest running Stadia podcast this side of Google Maps. We've got a great show for you lined up. We're going to be talking about the Resident Evil Showcase news that dropped this week. Very pertinent to Stadia because we're getting a cheeky demo. We also are going to be talking about a lovely APK breakdown and some potential big game announcements. But there is Stadia Gate, Logo Gate back again. We'll have to delve into that, but we'll get into all that in the show. But before we do, don't forget, if you're new to the channel, do us a favour and click like down below and subscribe. Click that bell so you're kept in the loop with all things Sounds of Stadia, because we do much more than just a podcast. We do weekly live streams, where us three gentlemen actually had a fantastic live stream this past Thursday with the wonderful people from Liquid Bit Games, and we played the hell out of Killer Queen Black on Thursday. Frantic, buzzy action all over the place, and it was an absolute delight. We gave away 8 game codes in total for Stadia. Like we said, the devs are in the chat, and it was so much fun. I think those 2 hours probably flew by faster than most live streams we've done on a Thursday. We blinked and it was 10 o'clock.
The whole thing was buzzing from the start to finish.
Faster than a hive of bees.
Faster than a hive of bees. And your engagement was wonderful, so thank you to everybody who stopped by in the chat and checked that out. It really made just the whole 2 hours absolutely fly by.
Yeah, and if you want to go check out the stream as well, if you're feeling like interested in learning a little bit more about the game, then certainly do so. Just head over to the YouTube channel and check it out. It was great. Ton of fun.
Oh, check it out indeed. And another big thank you, I guess we should say, to our brand new YouTube members, because last week we announced during our Resident Evil stream, and we made it live on the podcast, we put it out on Twitter, that our YouTube membership program is live, where you can support the channel a little bit more, if you choose to do so, by clicking join below on our YouTube link, or head over to, if you're listening on audio podcasts, head over to youtube.com/Sounds of Stadia, where from as little as 99p all the way up through our tiers, you can support us a little bit a little bit further, and get earlier our Sounds of Stadia SideQuest show up to 5 days early for your listening or viewing pleasure. And there's so many of you. I think there's well over 30 of you who've already taken up on that membership program, so thank you from the bottom of our heart. It's absolutely wonderful to see our patrons migrating over as well, and we're just looking to curate a great group of people. Join us in the Discord chat as well if you want to talk more things games. We will have a live stream this Thursday. We don't know what it is. Send us your suggestions. Leave them in the comments below, and we might just play that game of your choice. But, gentlemen, we've got a busy week of news, as we said. So, without further delay, we might as well jump into it, Tom, with the...
Absolutely. Let's go for the super sexy special Stadia Story segment, a.k.a. The News.
And what I figured was going to be a quiet week in the world of Stadia...
No.
I think we got to the middle of the week and it was ticking over slowly, if I'm honest, gentlemen. I was looking at our news doc and thinking it's a bit thin on the top here, just like our hair, it was a bit thin on the sides. And lo and behold...
I'm not thinning. My hair may be receding, but it's not thinning.
We've had it trimmed. We've had it trimmed.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, come, I think, Thursday, we had the Resident Evil drop, and then we have APK files, game studio announcements, and it just kind of all took off from there. So let's get into it with our first story of the week for our lovely viewers out there. The Resident Evil Showcase. We are mere weeks away now from Resident Evil Village dropping on Stadia. Remember, if you are so inclined to purchase the game, the window's still open to pre-order it and bag yourself a Premier Edition whilst stocks last in your respective countries, of course. But the RE Showcase, it gave us quite a lot of news, and the great thing with these events now, guys, is that now we know Stadia's getting Resident Evil, and there's a big promotion going on about it. It's on social feeds, news feeds, ad campaigns, all that kind of stuff. It's great we can look into this and talk about it, rather than just a fear about it not coming to Stadia. fear of it coming to Stadia and scaring the shit out of us. So the first kind of big story, I guess, is that we are getting a demo. So after all of the fanfare of us not getting the original demo, I believe it was a PlayStation exclusive, the first one. Why isn't it coming to Stadia? The game's coming to Stadia. I don't even think Xbox got it anyway, so it's not that big of a deal for me per se. However, this time round, we are getting a new demo. Reading from Adam Bankhurst at IGN, he gives us a great breakdown of some of the news because it's very complicated. I don't know if you guys checked the time frame for this demo, but it was a bit...
Yeah, it's like...
It was a bit convoluted. It was like different time zones, but for certain hours, and the demo is called the 8-hour demo, but you don't get to play for 8 hours. That's just the window in which the demo is available to play. And you can play for 1 hour, but you can pick a different area of 2. So yeah, it gets a bit complex.
Well, isn't one of the, there's actually 2 demos. One of them I think is an hour long, and one's half an hour long.
Yes.
Each of them have an 8-hour time window, come out on different days depending what platform you're on. It's like... Way to make things simple, Capcom.
It's a very convoluted way of going about this because I don't think we've ever seen anything like this before.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a weird beta test, isn't it, in a way? It's like a timed beta test.
Almost. So I watched the showcase live, and the kind of all the information passed by, and I was trying to make notes. It all happened too fast. I had to wait for an article to be written about it to digest the time zones. So for all of you Stadia people out there, and correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen, we will be getting, for Stadia specific, I know I'm going to get this wrong just as I say it, it's May the 1st and the 2nd in Europe, I guess, because the days differ. I don't know, it's a bit complex. We get May 1st and the 2nd, players will have an hour to play both the village demo or the castle demo, and they can choose how they split the time within that hour.
Yeah, you can play both demos, but you only have an hour. As soon as your time hits 1 hour, that's it. You can't play either of them. So you could choose to do 30 minutes either way, 40 minutes one, 20 the other, like however you want to split it, really. Very, very strange, but okay. I'll be interested to see what the speedrunners do with that.
Demo concept ever. Like,
yeah. Well, again, the video's called like 8 hours in Village, but you don't get 8 hours. You get 1 hour or potentially half an hour if you want to split your time. So in essence, there are 2 demos, one which takes place in the village, which I believe is the non-combat element demo, which was the one PlayStation got, and then there's the castle demo, which is going to show you the gameplay mechanics a little bit more. But remember, you've got to be tactful about this. Half an hour one place, half an hour the other.
So get your egg timer out just to keep you in track.
Do we think there'll be a little timer on screen to remind you, or will there be a 5-minute warning? Or is it a case of...
I'd hope.
Nah, too late, boys. It's over. You're locked out.
Yeah, that's crazy. But I suppose the great news to garner from all this is, in light of Resident Evil coming out, we are getting a demo, and it's playable on Stadia.
So, out of curiosity, let's say you're playing on Stadia because you can just create a new account easily. You could just create 2 accounts and have a full hour on each of them. Yeah.
But who wants to do that?
I mean, I might actually be tempted to do that just to quickly create how quickly you can create a Gmail account just to play the full demo, so you get double the amount of Resident Evil demos.
And then you could refer yourself as a friend, Richie, which is one of our other stories later in the week, in the episode we're going to be talking about. But yeah, great exciting news. Great that we're getting the demo. Stadia did clarify as well over on Twitter that you will not require Pro to play the demo, so it's just free access. So it's back to that mantra of no downloads, no updates, no installs. Just click to play the demo and you're in with a Gmail account, which is fantastic because we've alluded to it many times on the podcast before, but Stadia and demos go hand in hand so well. And the Good Stuff event we had back last summer with Humankind and Immortals Phoenix Rising and Pac-Man was so great because unlike traditional hardware, you don't have to download the demo. So this demo patch on PlayStation is probably going to be, 15, 20 gig upwards potentially? So that's time you have to set aside to download that game, whereas the benefit of Stadia is just click it and you're playing it within seconds without having to clear out your hard drive or make space or set time aside to install it on your console. It's all there and done. So more demos the better, in my opinion. And I'd love to see Stadia keep them hung around a little bit longer, because it's a shame that like the Humankind one was a time limited release and Pac-Man was, because if you were new to the platform, I think a little demo tab once they sort out their interface would be really helpful for people to just jump in and try 3 or 4 games available on Stadia as a demo And it's just another marketing push, I guess, to get people to test out the hardware and realise that they can jump between several titles without anything. Just click and go.
I've just noticed a potential further problem with this for us, us in Europe and the UK. Apparently, it drops at 2 a.m. Central European time on a Sunday. And you have 8 hours to play. They're prime sleeping hours.
Yeah, that's a good point, that.
Yeah.
But if you're playing a scary game, surely you want to be doing it in the middle of the night in the dark, right?
but it's starting to play at 2 a.m. on a Sunday.
Yeah,
like,
I see it. It says that the window. It's really weird how this is actually worded. I'm not sure. I think we need further clarification on it because it says play over an 8-hour window, but the European window is May the 2nd, 2 a.m. Central European to May the 3rd, 2 a.m. Central European.
Maybe once you start, you have an 8-hour window to play, but you only have to play for an hour.
I have no idea. We'll try to clarify that for people anyway.
Yeah. The way I'll do it is I'll wait until it goes live and then everyone stateside start tweeting about playing the demo and then I'll go, oh, the demo's out, and I'll boot up Stadia and I'll play it if I can, if I have the opportunity, because, yeah, like you said, Richie, I ain't going to be awake playing a scary game on my own at 3, 4 a.m. in the morning. Albeit we could have done it last night because that's how late we were up.
Yes.
The pain is real. But moving aside from the demo, we got a little bit more of a look in the depths of the gameplay and a few new features that are coming part and parcel with the game. And one of the features I'm really excited for, especially because it's got that online multiplayer element, is the Mercenaries mode, gentlemen. So I kind of knew from past Resident Evil games, not being like a massive fan of the franchise, but knowing of them, that there was this almost like waves of enemies feature, and I didn't realise that it wasn't in Biohazard, and I just kind of figured it fizzled out over the iterations of the game, and it's back. So there's like a wave-based Mercenaries mode. It's kind of like, I think it's like time trial waves where you have, it's similar to Call of Duty Zombies. I'm guessing that's how it looks to me. Complete for bonuses, score challenge, collect kills, rank them up, improve your weapons and stuff between rounds. So that sounds like Call of Duty Zombies to me. And they showcased that a little bit in the video with all the different weapon attachments and tweaks you can make. So boys will be jumping into Mercenaries at some point, I'm sure, and hunting down those waves.
Absolutely.
Going back to the demo time stuff, I actually think the 8-hour stuff might be the PS4, PS5 only, because the all-platform stuff does seem to have a 24-hour window.
Yeah.
Right.
Interesting.
Well, yeah, we'll certainly hear that.
I guess we just have to wait and see, won't we?
Yeah, we said at the beginning of the story, it's confusing as hell, and evident, even with the news article up in front of me, it still seems a bit weird, so I'll just wait until it's there on my screen, and I'll click play, and we'll go from there with it. We may do a first look, depending on how accessible it is as well. If we're awake, yeah, of course. And we could even split the first look between an hour each, like one on my account, one on one of your accounts, and go from there. That's how we could navigate that. But yeah, so we've got the game demo, we have Mercenaries. Either of you two, the kind of wave round killing?
I enjoy them like, in a multiplayer setting, like, so I think it would be really fun to stream, but it's rare I'd jump into a game like that on my own. There again, I did with Orcs Must Die. That was my most surprising game of the last year. How much I enjoyed it. So
yeah, they do give abilities.
I think I'm with you on that as well. I think like I do quite enjoy it if depending on the setting really, and depending on like who I'm playing with. If I can find like, you know, you can have really good energy with games, like game modes like that. But I think it's something that we could see about doing on a Thursday night as well. It could certainly be good streaming material for us.
It's got that just Strange Brigade vibe that we had. Like you're opening chests, you're getting loot, you're upgrading your weapons, and you're just taking out waves. But it definitely works better in a multiplayer environment. Like, it was great as a child, I think, playing it with my brother, games like that. Great when it's like you've got that other person to bounce off of and enjoy when you're being hunted down or killed. You're like, oh, quick, I need help. It's like that kind of like team camaraderie that you get. And so we're going to get Mercenaries, which is very exciting to see. They did sprinkle in some other information. Resident Evil Infinite Darkness, which is the Netflix movie, I believe, takes place in the White House. Graphics don't look that great, if I'm honest, from that one. I don't know whether it's just not fully finished, but Leon Kennedy and Claire Redfield show up in the White House to rescue the president's daughter, who was featured in Resident Evil 4. And part of me just thought the cutscenes in the RE engine in-game looked better than what I was seeing on this teaser trailer for the Netflix series. So
Yeah.
I figured when they said it was going Netflix, they were going to go Castlevania style animation, not 3D rendered as it is. So, but that's just me. I may watch it. I may not watch it. If it hasn't got what's her name? Is it Mia Djokovic who does all the Resident Evil movies? If it hasn't got her, I ain't interested. We'll see. She switched over to Monster Hunter World right now. That's her new thing. Yeah. She just jumps from one game franchise to the next. But the kind of next big story for Stadia specifically, the announcements didn't end there. They followed it up with a teaser for a Dead by Daylight collaboration. So us three here, Tom specifically, enjoys the murderous hunt that is Dead by Daylight. I'm guessing this does big things for you, Tom, as someone who's bought every skin pack possibly available.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've mentioned before on the podcast that with particular events that go on in games too, like I love the Resident Evil franchise. I love everything surrounding like the Umbrella Corporation, the characters, the sort of Resident Evil verse that they've built, I suppose. And to have that sort of collab with a game that I really sort of enjoyed, that asymmetric horror of Dead by Daylight, I just think it's the perfect match, really. I just think it's the absolute perfect match. You could play, like, I can see a world where you're playing as Nemesis or Mr. X or the lady from Resident Evil 8 just literally hunting people. Whereas on the other side of things, you could be playing as like the likes of Leon Kennedy or Chris Redfield, you know, big playable characters.
The newest guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Ethan Winters.
All for it.
Awesome. Yeah, there's is there any horror franchises that Dead by Daylight doesn't cover now? It seems like they've got most of them in the bag, like the big ones anyway.
Yeah, for the most part. I don't think they've got anything like The Ring, perhaps. Something along the lines of that.
Xenomorph. Get those alien licenses going in. Although that might be quite hard. Did you see, totally side note, but the guys who wrote Predator are trying to get the rights back from Disney after like 30 years. The guys who wrote the original movie. Wow. It's like, I don't think you've got much luck there, gents, unfortunately. This is the House of Mouse and all of their billions.
True. Very true.
But more fun to come. They didn't really look that much into Resident Evil Reverse, which of course is the other game that we get free packed in with Village as well as Mercenaries 2. They did like a little teaser trailer, but we didn't see much more of that, and that's another one that's got me quite interested, because I think us three would have a load of fun playing that one. So
yeah, I'm guessing they decided to stay away from talking about that because they've already talking about Mercenaries, and they don't want to try and mix things up too much with two multiplayer games in the same.
Very true. Yeah. Because one did come out with Resident Evil 3 remake, right? There was an online component that I don't feel like anybody talks about.
I think that might have been the original Mercenaries.
It was, yeah. It was Mercenaries.
It's as if it's coming back rather
than
something new.
Yeah, so Mercenaries came with Resident Evil 3, and then they ran that through to, I want to say, 6. And then after that, they just dropped it for 7. No need for 7, but it's back.
It's back. Wonderful. Speaking of things that are back, Tom, thank you for that. In other news, aside away from all the Resident Evil stuff, we won't talk about that forever. Ubisoft announced that they are bringing us another Ubi Forward, which is great to see. We expected it. We've already had one this year, right? It's so hard to tell with time.
I know. I feel like time has become a non-linear thing now.
I guess we haven't then, because we've had the delays from Riders Republic and Far Cry, and they've not mentioned them again. So we must have had one at the back end of last year, like November. And then
I do remember the last,
because we covered one, but it seems like not that long ago. But actually, now I'm thinking of it more. It is April now. It probably was before Christmas we covered it, but. Great news, they put out a very short statement on their website. It says, Ubisoft Forward goes live Saturday, June the 12th, 2021. Get ready for Ubisoft Forward. Our digital conference goes live, insert dates again, as part of E3 2021. So we know we reported last week they were going to be part of the showcase. It looks like they have their own time window, which, with everything E3 being digital, we knew it wasn't going to be anything like concrete. It was very much going to be, here's an Xbox presentation, here's a Ubisoft presentation, all within the realms of one weekend. So it looks like Ubisoft are up 12 p.m. On the Saturday, which is probably one of the prime time slots for everybody. I'm looking forward to it. Won't go too in depth yet, guys, because we'll probably have our predictions of what we're going to expect for E3. We'll probably do a big blowout episode on that. But while the story is here, anything in particular you'd like to see from this Ubisoft Forward? Bit of Phil Harrison up on the stage again, maybe tickle your fancy. He was at the last one.
I mean, overarching anything they're bringing out new, I'd like to see coming to Stadia as well. That's kind of a given. Ubisoft Plus in the UK, please, maybe.
Yeah, maybe just a global rollout at that point.
Yeah,
and just say we're sort of happy with how it's gone, so let's just push it live.
Even Phil could do that.
Yeah,
he could announce on their behalf.
Collaboration,
because I can't see them announcing that as like part of the press. I think that would be like a blog post within the same weekend.
That could be a great integration into like a Ubisoft Forward actually at E3 when all the eyes are on E3, all the eyes are on the Ubisoft conference. Phil Harrison's there talking about Stadia mid conference, and then how Ubisoft Plus you can get all the Ubisoft games for one subscription fee on a platform that costs you nothing to purchase.
Could be. In terms of
appealing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
Can't deny that. No.
In terms of games, then, gentlemen, we still don't have a date for Far Cry 6, which was supposed to be out in February. Gone.
Yep.
Like that's quite surprising. So, do we think Far Cry will be out by June? Or do we think
I have a sneaking suspicion they're going to push it back to holiday this year, I think.
I don't know. It depends on what current state it's in. I could see it being pushed back to holiday, but I could also see it being like during the conference, oh, by the way, it's out now.
Ah, man, I really dislike that approach. Like, it's great for hype. I get it for hype, but it's like people who've pre-ordered or want to get the game, and then it's like, oh, by the way, it's out now. Surprise, go get it. Just head down to game.
I think it works a bit better because the game is delayed, and we're talking about something that's happening in June, so it's only 2 months away. It's not like massively in the distance that you're suddenly going quiet on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not Ubisoft's MO though. Traditionally to do that, I think because they have shareholders, they have like a right to inform them of when stuff's like on the roadmap. Stadia. Yeah,
but I don't think you would inform your shareholders at an E3 press conference. You'd have informed them.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So we would know ahead of time if they were going to do a stealth drop. Unfortunately, it would probably be leaked ahead of time because of the nature of their business.
But these 2 months for that leak to occur.
That's true.
From this point. And I also don't see Ubisoft really pushing any big news between now and then at this point. Because you want to say, this is the point where you're gearing up for E3, you want to save your big drops for then. Yeah. At the very least, I think we'll get a date at E3. And I think it will still be this year.
It's probably going to be more of the same in terms of like game updates, how games are proceeding. Maybe a look at like the next season of Hyperscape and stuff like that too. Maybe some new projects in the works as well, just to keep us wanting more. You know, that sort of
forget that game exists.
Yeah, Hyperscape's a bit of an interesting one because it sort of came and went a little bit. We always thought it was going to be one of these games to rival the likes of Apex Legends and Warzone, but it
just
really
didn't seem to. Yeah.
I'm sure it's got its own fan base, but I'd
like to see it come over to Stadia, to be honest. It might be able to find a new life in Stadia.
Depends how many it needs. They did announce it was going through like a rebranding rehash, and now we have this weird situation where is it going to do an Anthem and be supported, but they don't have the full backing and commitment of it because things like this, that like there's so little space left in that world. With Warzone and Fortnite being the behemoths that they are, and Apex Legends. There's such a little gap, I think, left for these games as a service, like battle royale shooter things. And I think Hyperscape, for it does a lot of things right, it also seems to just be copying the others. And it is almost that, well, why would I play Hyperscape when Warzone is just as good, or if not far better?
All my friends are already playing Apex. So Apex is almost your more sci-fi, and Warzone's your more like military shootery, and they kind of have it both. And then you got Fortnite as the full-on cartoony version. So it's like
Fortnite's just pop culture.
Like
central at the moment. They've got like Aloy and stuff. I don't know what to make of it when you've got like Predator and then Iron Man and then Aloy and Master Chief. It's like it's such a confusion.
I think it works because Fortnite is such a ridiculous game. So you can just throw anything at it and it will work.
It's like Ready Player One, just there's everything. Or the new Space Jam 2 trailer where there's just every IP possible just gets put into that.
Absolutely.
It must be really nice to be a shareholder in Epic.
Oh yes, certainly is. But back to the games then. Skull and Bones, do we think? Do we finally hear what the hell's going on with that title?
I think if it's not at the E3, I think it's dead. Like,
ooh,
because it's been so long, and it was meant to have already been out by now.
Did they ever put a date on it? It does feel like for an eternity, to be fair. Since
I might have misspoke there, but it feels like it's something that's just
lost out. Sea, Richie.
Well, I feel like a quick Google says initial release date March 2021. So I think
missed that window.
Scheduled, I think it was scheduled for early this year.
Was it
announced in E3 2017?
I was just about to say, I'm pretty sure it's 17.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was just going to go to. Wow. That's
East Gilmore confirmed that the game has been pushed back to at least April 2021 to March 2022 fiscal year.
That was right. I remember us reporting that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it is then. If that's the case, then maybe this is the time that they need to start showing stuff off, because if it's due between April now and March next year, we got to see something. Otherwise,
I think though Ubi could be running the same risk that they had with Watch Dogs, where they bring out too many games in too small of a window, so things just fall through the cracks.
Yeah,
I think if it comes out at around about the same time as like a Far Cry 6 or something, Skull and Bones, it might not have the sea legs to actually stand up. Like I've both skipped over Watch Dogs and Immortals Phoenix Rising because I was playing Assassin's Creed, and then Cyberpunk, then other games took my interest, and
it's just like taking the wind out of its sails.
And they just fall into backlog territory.
Right, let's move away from this pun-injured story. Beyond Good and Evil 2, I think is similar boat. Damn it, I did it without even realising it. Similar. Where it's just again kind of dead in the water. I was never.
Send your best pirate puns to soundsofstadia@gmail.com. Dead in the water.
At some point, these games need to stop just being kind of vaporware and actually have some substance, or just cancel the project.
Yeah, maybe it's just time that they just walk the plank.
I knew you were going to say a thing. I could see as soon as you started that sentence. We're sorry.
Create a mutiny if you're not careful.
Right. Okay. Right. Let's move on. Right. We're moving on.
We're drawing a line, folks. We're moving on.
So, final few points then. Riders Republic, we expect to see soon, I guess. It was supposed to be out already. I think that game just needed a bit of polish. I can see them wanting to get it out some point in the summer, because it's an active sports game. So I think it lands best in the summer when people are hopefully outdoors on bikes and doing all that crazy X games, X-Cross and shit. Yeah. Right. And Phil Harrison, yes or no, gents? No? Richie?
I'm going to go with yes. On basically the integration I've said, Ubisoft Plus coming to Stadia worldwide.
Okie dokie.
I want to be proven wrong.
Don't we all? I'd like to see him this year, and in any format. Is
Phil still alive?
As the head of Stadia, it's his presence. I think I saw on Twitter, someone mentioned that they retweeted Phil Harrison's last Stadia specific tweet, and it was from something like last November and it's not like, it's the head of Stadia. It's like, I know Twitter's not the be all and end all, but to have a presence when you see like the likes of Phil Spencer and stuff sharing everything Xbox, and Major Nelson sharing everything Xbox, and then it just
if he doesn't want to be the face of the brand, he could get someone else to be the face of the brand, but he's already lost someone like Jade Raymond. So at the moment, all eyes are kind of on Phil. Yeah.
Not Spencer, but I do think these big corporations, they need that like kind of human touch to them. We saw Sony do so well when they had like Jack Tretton and such up on stage, and Andrew House as well when they were doing all the presentations, and they've got Mark Cerny who does all the technical in-depth talks. And for better or for worse, you have that human presence to put to a massive global like conglomeration, and it helps make you realise that they're just people who work behind the scenes on these things.
The best example was what do you call him from Nintendo? Formerly from Nintendo.
Reggie Fils.
Reggie Fils, like he's such a character that represented the brand, and then they replaced him with someone called Bowser, which is just perfect.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, we just need someone as called Mr. Google to step forward and to
just get Sundar Pichai come out in a giant Stadia controller outfit like a mascot.
Yeah.
I'm Mr. Google.
That could work. I'm sure they've done. Mr. Android, get the Android alien guy. He'll come in and clean up.
They need to
that's
make
little
an
guy.
Android Alien game.
There he is.
Yeah, they need to make an Android Alien game and also bring this dinosaur to Stadia.
And Worm Game. Where's Worm Game? Still waiting for Worm Game.
Worm Game. I forgot all about that. Worm
Game. I'm gonna start doing that every 3 to 6 months because it just seems to be a recurring theme on the podcast.
Where is the Worm Game?
Worm Game.
Speaking of games, though, we will pivot back around to our next star of the week, which is that IO Interactive, creators of Hitman and the new upcoming Project 007, have announced a new studio in Barcelona, Spain. Which
fantastic.
It is fantastic. It's a beautiful city, Barcelona. Yeah. And they've came out in the statement, we're proud to announce the opening of a new studio in Barcelona as part of our ambitious and exciting plans for expansion over the coming years. The newly established studio will be known as IO Barcelona. Not too many one's surprise. And joins IO Copenhagen and IO Malmo as the third studio to work on our award-winning Glacier technology and ongoing projects and universes, Hitman, Project 007, and an unannounced new IP. Ooh. All 3 studios will be treated as elite studios and will make a significant impact to ongoing development and publishing efforts across all projects. Barcelona, blah, 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 city centre, exciting times ahead, integral part of the plans, etc. So it looks like essentially IO are expanding, which is great to see. It's nice to see once they broke away from the Square Enix Hitman stuff, they've gone from strength to strength, in my opinion. Hitman 3 was an absolute smash hit. They've got an IP like James Bond in their wheelhouse now, and now they're opening up a new studio. So it's wonderful. I love to see it, and this just means more games for us going forward. And they have a partnership with Stadia, which is huge news. It's great. It's better for everyone. What's the third IP though? Do you think, guys? What do you think? So we've got Hitman, which we don't know whether they're going to do another iteration or just support.
I like
3.
Something new, like a completely new IP from the ground up. Hitman's pretty much a legacy IP at this time. Yeah. It's been around for quite a while. James Bond, I don't think we need to discuss about what the IP means to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to see them like stretch the creative muscles and come up with something completely new.
Golf game.
It's interesting because chances are it's probably going to be built on the same sort of engine as well when it talks about their Glacier technology. So we can sort of expect something that's not episodic, but like within a series within the same engine, though, on the same launcher, effectively.
Maybe be a bit bold. Maybe make it like a sci-fi or something. Out there, because 007 and Hitman are kind of in the same sort of bracket. They're very close together, like the Venn diagram of games.
Chris, you might like this one. I'm not sure where the IP currently sits at the moment, but I was just maybe thinking, if you take the idea of Hitman as a character, Agent 47, you take the idea of James Bond as a character, what other type of character could potentially work well in another universe? And I just had a thought for a moment, what about if we took it back to a fantasy setting, we go with the Lord of the Rings IP, and we go as a ranger instead, something like that.
Ooh. That would be awesome. But
I'm pretty sure the IP sits with Amazon at the moment.
Warner Brothers,
that IP will be insanely expensive, considering they've just forked out a load for 007. It feels like that may be overstretching. If 007 flops, which is possible, then suddenly they're in difficult waters.
Maybe sci-fi is probably something that it's going to lean towards, quite possibly. Cyberpunk-esque, I imagine.
Or they could go with this, like, sort of stick with the spy thriller stuff and do, like, a Mission Impossible game.
Oh, wow.
That's true, yeah. I'd imagine they want to make something that's wholly their own, so because they're so familiar with working with a known franchise in Hitman, and they've just bagged 007. I think that this would want to be their projects that from the ground up, it's purely of their creation. I would guess, like, if you're opening a brand new studio and you're trying to expand your company, I think it would make sense for them to get an IP that's wholly theirs. It's not got any legacy link to any other companies and such. It's just purely their own. So I'm thinking, how much could you read into it being in Barcelona? Are they looking for Spanish influence there? Could we see an Uncharted adventure game potentially? Because again, it's third-person games is what they're best known for. We'll see. Well, I guess time will tell.
I think it being in Barcelona, they're just looking at what cities can be like decent hubs for game development going forward.
Yeah.
And they are a European-based developer, especially with things like Copenhagen and Malmo. Maybe they're just looking to get more spread out a bit more into Europe.
Yeah, potentially.
It's nice to see, actually, like developers like we're going to focus in our studios in and around Europe instead of where, unfortunately for us in the UK, most game development seems to either be in Japan or America or Canada.
Well, we got Rockstar, guys. We got Rockstar.
Yeah, we do have Rockstar.
And
we've got a lot of developers, but it's
spread out. All in London, mostly.
Yeah.
And I guess speaking of IO then and the partnership they used to have with Square Enix, the next... it could potentially be a huge story, but at the same time it could just be like a damp squib at this point. Square Enix, through the week, according to Bloomberg Japan, they came out saying there is a couple of companies that are courting the acquisition of Square Enix, to which they have came out and bluntly said, no, we're not for sale, that we've had no offers, don't read too much into it. But there's always that element of you don't get smoke without fire in a way.
Yeah.
And the rumour going around earlier this week was that Square Enix may have been up for grabs. Now, in all the news that we've covered over the last couple of months, I could never see Stadia acquiring this. I just want to get that out there. Right? It's not an acquisition. I don't think they're in the market to buy companies. What it does have me worried for is someone like Microsoft coming in with their checkbook, or Sony counteracting Microsoft Bethesda purchase, and then before Google realise it, and Nintendo and anyone else, Luna, who wants to get in the gaming industry, there's going to be very little third-party companies left to deal and work with at this rate. It's a scary prospect, arguably.
My immediate thoughts on this is the game industry at the moment seems to be like there's a lot of platform holders, and suddenly, like especially if the moves Microsoft are making, everyone's fighting for anyone who's still free, like in independent.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, if we don't get them, if Sony don't get them, Microsoft might get them, or maybe Nintendo might make a wild bid for them. I think this is where the Square have probably been hit up by a couple of interested parties, and almost probably getting this out before press start leaking too much about the nature of the conversation. Just going, look, we are not for sale. Let's just make it definitive.
Yeah.
Well, again, they're a publicly traded company, so the reason they've had to make this statement so quick, they've literally said, we do not consider selling off the company or any part of the business, nor have we received any offers from a third party to acquire a company or part of its businesses. They have to do that because if these rumours pick up any traction, it impacts their stock trading. So they have to make the statement to go, no, don't worry, because it could have a massive impact. We see it with Elon Musk. He tweets out one daft thing and the company drops 100 million off its share prices, which pisses off a lot of shareholders, I'm sure. But
absolutely,
it just goes back to our conversation we had many, many months ago now, guys, that how can these types of decisions and rumours impact Stadia from a Stadia-centric podcast perspective? And the reality has to be that if Square Enix was bought up, and now we know Bethesda's gone, Stadia's potential future library gets smaller and smaller with every acquisition that's made from the bigger players in the market. And it's scary that if you took Square Enix titles from Stadia and you took Bethesda titles from Stadia, there's only really Ubisoft and indies, and like EA, I guess now is starting to pick up a bit, but it doesn't look these kind of acquisition wars that are starting to happen.
The Bethesda deal is quite monumental for the gaming industry because this was a third party tentpole of the industry that is now a first party. That is a seismic shift, which I don't think we've felt it in the industry yet. I think it's going to be a number of years once the current contracts to with Bethesda have with things like PlayStation and Nintendo are over, and they start making exclusively for Microsoft. That's when I think we'll notice that more.
Certainly.
But with Square seem to, I've talked about this before, they seem to have this thing where they'll do exclusive games for various different platforms. You see how many different exclusives they have. If you look at Final Fantasy VII, was initially a PlayStation exclusive. Bravely Default 2, which I've recently played, that's a Square game, but that is a Switch game. It's an exclusive, so that seems to be how Square preferred to do things.
Yeah, they just have long-standing.
So I can see it being on Square's board of directors sitting there going, it doesn't make sense for how we've got to the position we are to go with one party when we've done really well by making various different types and styles of games that suit individual platforms.
Very true. and it's all business, I guess. Like even reading more of the Eurogamer article, video games consultant states in there that the Square Enix stock soared 14% just with these rumors alone.
Yeah.
So then, for what it's worth, is this just people within industry, like the stockholders, because of like Avengers didn't do as great, they're trying to just make up some loss there? And it's kind of in the football world, Richie, when agents they start rumors in the paper that this player might want to move to Real Madrid. So then all of a sudden, even though the player's not said a thing, all these other clubs are now interested. Is there offers on the table? And it just starts...
Bumps the value up a little.
Yeah.
I completely get why any platform holder will be interested in Square Enix. But I really hope they stay independent, because if you think about something as awesome as Octopath Traveler, would that got us anywhere near as amount of traction if it wasn't initially a Switch exclusive?
Yeah,
true.
Because that game and that style lends itself so well to Switch, and then it got its following, which then went to launch on other platforms and was able to succeed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're completely right. And to put a pin in all this, I guess, is just quickly off the top of our heads, guys, how little would the Stadia library have if we took away Square Enix titles and Bethesda? Because I'm thinking that's all the Tomb Raider games, Final Fantasy, Avengers, Outriders,
Dragon Quest, which I'm currently playing now. It's a Square game.
Yep. Then we'd lose Rage, both Doom games. It's a lot, isn't it? Really, like a lot of big like AAA as well, which is which would be the concern.
Absolutely.
And again, I don't think we'd lose them, but it just sets a potentially bad precedence if this went forward with us getting a Fallout game in the future, or Starfield, or time will tell. And we know Google clearly are not in the market, or we don't think they're in the market for this kind of thing. But you're right, Richie, in saying the Bethesda deal it showcased that nothing is impossible in this world of gaming. And
But before we wrap that story up, though, I think what we do need to do, and I don't want to add anything to the rumor mill here, but is this not just the same equivalent with the press release from Square Enix saying, like when a board of a football team says they have full confidence in their manager and that they won't be sacked at the end of the season?
I don't think this is.
You think it's like the final, that's the secret nail in the coffin?
But they have to say it for the sake of saying it, but it doesn't mean it's not happening behind the scenes. The reality is, until it happens, we won't know, and we will, there's no way for us to know. Again, it's this, it could very well be happening, but like you guys have said before, I just hope it would. I hope it doesn't, because I really do think Square Enix are better than that.
The thing is, though, I think there's one thing saying a board of directors at football clubs saying we're fully behind the manager, which is probably half true at the moment they said it. To outright say we do not consider selling off the company. Mm-hmm. It's a fairly definitive statement.
It is. I'll give you that.
Maybe he just puts the value up more, so they get an extra $500 million by saying no, we're not for sale. But if you offer us another $250,000, maybe that'll tip us over the edge. But
with it being publicly traded, that makes a sale harder.
It does. That is a very good point. Yeah, it's not as easy as just like sign off and done. It has to go through a lot of vetting process. So Square Enix is safe for now. Stadia is safe for now. Moving on to the next story, gentlemen. We got another APK breakdown this weekend, actually. It was quite late in the week, like we said. Slow news week to start, and then all of a sudden the bottle popped the cap, and everything was all over the place. So we got another APK breakdown. Our friends over at 9 to 5 Google. Some solid work from Carl Bradshaw once again. Gives an insight into all the Android details. For those who don't know APK files, it's when the Android app updates. They can drill down into the coding and give us a bit more detail into what's going on. Big things from this one, referral bonuses. Guys, if we know about referral bonuses already, they're already a thing. You can recommend people play Stadia and you get a month Stadia Pro for free when they pay their first month legitimately. This time around, however, it looks like they're branching off into a different tiered system. So from what it reads in the APK breakdown is you recommend a friend, you get a month Pro for free, they get a month Pro for free for the recommendation. You do it again, you'll potentially get a code for 50% discount off a Stadia controller on the Google Store. Oh. And if you do it a third time, you get an exclusive avatar, which is a cute as anything little premiere edition with a sticky out tongue. I don't know what order these go in. My guess would be the 1 month free, then the avatar, then the controller. The controller would seem the premium 3 month, 3 recommendation kind of reward for that.
Yeah.
Because 50% is a fair chunk, to be fair. Unless you just pre-order Resident Evil and just get one for free with that. But it's great to see. It looks like the Stadia APK breakdown's given us a good insight into the ball rolling. Next feature.
I think this is a fantastic move. It's basically mobilising the Stadia players already to get other people invested in the platform.
The army of Stadia people out there.
Maybe we need to bring back our hashtag Stadia foreplay.
Maybe get it out there. I'm sure the Stadia army will do wonders of getting that word out. I think Richie, you said below, if you want to refer a friend, reach out to us. We're happy to refer people. Give them our codes, whatever they look like.
Maybe I can finally get that black controller to complete the set.
Oh yeah, I wonder if the discounts off just the white controller, which seems to be the norm, or across them all. Get me that wasabi one finally, Tom. Finally. Next up on the APK file, probably the biggest part of this was the Google TV progress. So we know for some time that we're expecting Stadia to be working on the new Chromecast with Google TV. That's the right name, I think, gents, in all its longevity. Yep. They said first half of this year. We're now nearing the end of April, so the time is running out for that promise. I've seen them on Twitter reply to many people with that generic response of it's still coming, first half. Keep your eyes locked to our pages for more news. But this APK breakdown does mention some features in here about the Stadia controller won't open the Google Assistant when you're using it. So you two both have these. So if you if you're hooked up to Google Chromecast and you press the Google Assistant button, it won't work. You have to do it with your little controller, remote control still. Not that.
I've never pressed that button anywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I don't really use voice commands that often. The only time I really do is like my Google Home hub thing.
Yeah.
But for I like a remote sometimes when I'm watching TV. It's nice.
See, we don't always use it with the Google TV, but because we've got like the Philips Hue lights in the living room as well, we can actually use it to control the lights. So if we're watching a movie, we can just say turn off the living room lights and stuff like that, and it will just respond, which is great.
Stuff like that. I just think voice activation works better when it's actually voice activation and I'm not pressing a button. At some point, I'm already pressing a button. I might as well press the rest of the buttons I need to press.
You got a point. They've also mentioned a few things there about changing volume control, and the Stadia app is not optimized for this TV. So it's quite interesting that in there it does specifically say for Android TV devices, which is the kind of standing app name for Stadia and Google TV on smart TVs and Chromecast. So we've known people have been sideloading this for a while. It's an easy workaround, but to have it officially go live is a big thing for Stadia. I read an article just this morning that was saying how Stadia is not on their Chromecast still, and there's a whole discussion to be had about Alphabet being the umbrella company, and when Google were pushing a Chromecast product, one app like Stadia not being on it. It's not down to them not discussing things, it's just the reality is Google were not going to delay the launch of a new hardware product for the sake of one app not being optimized in time. They've got everything else ready to go to meet financial deadlines and stuff. It was always going to come out with or without Stadia. So who that lands on, we'll never know. But it's about time it's finally came, because we've rumoured and theorised for a while that the Chromecast Ultras, they're off into the horizon now. They're off on that. They're nearly gone. You can't buy them anywhere except for secondhand and Premier editions, evidently. Yeah. But it's nice to see, and you two can both test it out. See how it runs.
It's interesting to say that at this point, though, with these Stadia apps for Android, they can actually be sideloaded onto the Google TV at the moment. So if people did want to try these out at this point, you are fully able to sideload the app onto the Google TV, and it will work. I believe another thing I saw from a Twitter user in the Stadia community as well was also saying that the 4K option now works on the Google TV too, which isn't reported amongst the APK, but it's another step closer to confirming that it is on its way now. So I'd like to think within the next month, perhaps, hopefully the next 30 days might actually bring it to us, because I'm waiting to see it every day I turn the Google TV on. And I'm just waiting to see Stadia appear at the top bar. Really hoping it'll pop up soon.
Yeah, there's some good features. And
Certainly.
4K, they've also said a bit more about party chat. We know chat's terrible as it is through the app, but it looks like they're adding more features in, things to do with like party leader, party invites, join my party, chat now available. So again, these are just a few particular settings that they can pick out from the coding, but it must be close now. And the kind of final bit from the APK file is the opportunity to delete captures in batch rather than one at a time. Which that's not a big thing for some people, but if you
it's quality of life.
If you capture a lot of things, I'm sure it's an absolute pain in the ass to go through and delete them.
It's kind of interesting that, because that's actually something that popped up on Reddit kind of recently when I was looking at a quality of life thread. Somebody said we don't have the ability to mass delete captures, and if they're accidentally pressing it in a game, then you want to be able to get rid of all those useless screenshots. So cool, great, step in the right direction.
With the screenshots, do we have a limit on how many we can save? You know,
yes,
like Google Drive, because I feel like that was something that was mentioned way back when Stadia launched.
Yeah,
and it's something we never really have to think about. But will there come a time when it's like, storage reach? You've got to pay for Google Drive to save more captures or something.
I think you can capture.
It's like 500 screenshots.
Oh, never mind. Multiply by 10. 500. There you go.
Yeah, I don't know how many videos that is though, as well.
500 max. Oh no, 500 max clips, unlimited screenshots. I'm just looking at it on stadia.google.com now. Wow. So it's 500 max clips and unlimited screenshots that you can capture. That's pretty nice.
It's pretty kind.
You'd like to think by the time we reach 500, there's a better interface to navigate and delete, and maybe it's like send them or save them elsewhere. Or maybe they will do a Google Drive option where it's like pay $1.99 a month for extra storage kind of deal. Pro Max or something like that.
Maybe.
That's it for the breakdown, ladies and gentlemen. Moving back to some more game conversation. Now, I don't want to open the floodgates on Logo Gate again, but I did realise we had 2 announcements this week, and they weren't really picked. They were picked up by a couple of people in the community, and I saw a couple of the dedicated races amongst you viewers and listeners out there pick up on this as expected. But Codemasters, obviously now part of EA, they did announce their Formula 1 2021 title this past week. They showed off just a quick like CG trailer around it, and no mention of Stadia. Now I saw a couple of people, you probably did as well, you saw a couple of people on Twitter who we know are massive Formula 1 fans. They host weekly racing events across the community. And are we now reaching that time of year again where we go back into the same cycle of, because Stadia don't say anything and they don't tell us dates and commitments until like the month of or the week before, are we now going to have to go through an entire summer of big titles announced at E3 and they don't have Stadia there? Because we know we're waiting on Football Manager still. That's been out on Steam for what, Richie, 4 or 5 months now?
It's like FIFA Gate, but longer.
So you've got that. We've got FIFA 22 is arguably going to be announced in the summer for a release this September. We've now got Formula 1 2021 with no logo, and we might as well throw it in here as well, because WWE 2K was also announced at WrestleMania. They showed off Rey Mysterio being the front and center. No mention there as well. So that's 2 games. We know we got WWE Battlegrounds, so we're getting the prequels essentially, but no mention of the new ones coming. So what do we think?
The thing is, last year they got an absolute hammering for Logo Gate, where they'd be through all the different conventions, or like summer games fests and stuff. Like, are they going to be there? No, they're not. Or wait, actually, we know this game's coming to Stadia anyway, but the logo isn't there. All that sort of stuff. Surely they're not setting themselves up to go through that again, because that just seems moronic. Well,
is this the first Codemasters game under the EA umbrella that we're getting then? Or not getting, I should say.
It's the first one they've announced, but we've got to believe that these deals were done well before the EA acquisition happened.
Yeah. Okay.
Unless EA class this as one of their titles they're bringing across. That would be cheeky.
Well, that's the annoying thing, because I was thinking back to the original EA announcement, and we were supposed to get a 5th unannounced game. And we still haven't heard anything of that. Yeah. FIFA, Madden.
Jedi.
Jedi.
Yeah. You've got me now. You've got me now. What is it? What is it?
I don't know.
That's it, isn't it?
How fun.
Is it just 3 that we've got so far?
There's no other sports games, is there? Golf's 2K, isn't it?
Yeah, PGA was 2K.
Yeah, we've got no Need for Speed yet. We've got no Apex Legends, which we guessed was going to come last summer.
I feel like that was the Stadia. Was that the Kinect? They announced that at, wasn't it?
Yeah. So just Madden, FIFA, and Jedi, I think.
Yeah.
So we expect 2 more, right?
So we're missing 2 games at the moment, then.
Yeah, and I don't think FIFA 2022 can count towards them 5 games.
Well,
you can. Technically, it would, but it's like it feels like cheating. Like
Same with if Formula One made by Codemasters was. It's like, hang on a minute, you didn't own Codemasters at the time.
Yeah.
Again, I would love to have seen Apex. We wanted the Sims for some time.
Yeah, Apex and Sims, well, I think would be 2 good shouts to fill up a 5.
There's no Need for Speed game this year, so there's no racing title coming across. We all would love Mass Effect Legendary Edition that comes out next month. But again, it's either going to be a stealth drop, maybe, or is it just going to come and go with...
It's cutting it way too fine now. It's cutting it way too fine.
I mean, Formula One's release date on other platforms is July 16th, so even that's not that far away.
Not really.
But yeah, it is an interesting one. And like I said, with the WWE game as well, we obviously didn't get a main franchise entry last year because they messed up so much on the previous iteration that they decided to take a hiatus for a year, and they gave us Battlegrounds, which was a below average game in my estimations anyway. Yep. So this could be the first big title to come out, and it was announced at WrestleMania, so I guess it wasn't like aimed at the same audience as gamers. Arguably, it was aimed at like the core wrestling fan base who tune in for WrestleMania. But they have took a year off. Will it come to Stadia? Let us know, because I'd much rather play a main entry WWE game than the Battleground spin-off. But yeah, I don't want us to go into a summer where we have no presence at E3. I say we, of course, I mean Stadia fans and stuff. Yeah. As we don't have an E3 presence, we don't see Phil for another 5 months. We ain't getting any big AAA titles. And then again, do we just go into a whole other year cycle of waiting patiently while all of the competition goes, it's coming this month, it's out next month, pre-orders, special editions, bang, 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 and we have to wait until the week or month before?
I've said time and time again, Stadia's my preferred platform to play things right now, but I do have a PS5 downstairs, so at what point when I'm starting getting excited for a game, so it's not coming to Stadia, I just pre-order it, or sometimes even just outright buy it on another platform.
I mean,
Google, you've lost your sale on that one. Then you extrapolate that across the entire gaming industry. And it's like not announcing games at the same time as they're coming to other platforms does equate to lost sales.
I mean, we're all going to be playing Mass Effect on our PlayStations, right? At this moment in time.
At this moment in time.
Sorry?
Is it actually coming to PS4?
No, it's PS4 only, but forwards, backwards compatible stuff. But that's what I'm playing in May. Never played them before. Everyone reviews them really well. Super excited. Would I play it on Stadia instead? Yes. Can I? No. So that's my month of May. 3 massive titles. A lot of legacy, a lot of history.
Word needs to get out there about that pretty quickly, I think.
Spread the word, everybody. A nice little point of Formula One, though, by the way. It looks like they're doing a story mode within this year's entry called Breaking Point. Brand new story mode. Epic journey. Rise from the ranks of Formula 2 to have a shot at stardom of the world of Formula 1. It immerses players in the glamorous world of F1, gives you a taste of lifestyle both on and off the track, the rivalries, emotion and dedication needed to compete at the highest level. So, quite nice. Interesting to see.
It reminds me, I need to get back into the Madden career mode again. The story mode.
Get back to it. How's your FIFA career mode going?
I've
been sacked yet?
No, I've just canned it. I've just decided to walk off the pitch. I've retired. I'm now off, living the dream somewhere with my 14 mil that I banged one season.
We still need to get you on a stream at one point to have a match just to see how you stack up against me and Richie and other people.
Okay.
We'll see. If FIFA ever gives us more multiplayer options, we might get to that one.
You wasn't Chase's match, Chris.
I know. I need to sort that one out. Right then, so taking all of that somber news, we'll elevate a little bit with some exciting DLC, even though the first one's been delayed. Not too long, though. It's not too bad. Let's run down some game updates, guys. So we've got Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the first major expansion, Wrath of the Druids, is now going to release on May 13th. I can't remember what date it was supposed to be releasing on. I'm guessing it was this month. May 13th. Three odd weeks away. That's not too much of a delay in my opinion.
So I've got 3 weeks to beat the game.
That's doable.
3 weeks. All right. That's my plan starting tonight. Starting tonight, that's the plan. Okay.
How far did you get?
I got nowhere. I literally I beat the intro, if you want to call it. Got to the boat. Did that very first raid that you could do on the little island as soon as you leave with the boat.
Yeah.
Did you land in the first? No, I reached the first town where I played the mini games, like the drinking mini game, the epic rap battles of history, and then that was it.
So you're in the prologue still. Basically.
Yes, I suppose I am.
So you've got about another 115 hours to go then.
I think what I'll try to do is I'll try to plow through the story and then go back to try to do everything else. Just get through the story.
That's what I would. If you want to try and get it done in 3 weeks before the DLC, I'm focusing on story, and you can do the collectible stuff later.
Yeah, of course I can.
Or you just be like me, just give up. It'd be like me where I'm looking at my pile of games stacking up. Was like, I just want to finish this game and
it's really frustrating for me sometimes. Sorry to get off the topic of the news here, folks, but it's really frustrating because there's often times when, and I'm sure we've all had it, where you've sat down to play a game and you look at your list of games and go, like, you look through them and you go, I could play that, could play that.
Too many choices.
And then you get to a point where you go, do you know what? I actually can't be bothered, so I just close it and open up YouTube instead and watch stuff. And I'm sitting here now thinking I could be spending that time playing Assassin's Creed, playing Dragon Quest, playing Ys 8. Like, there's so many... Playing Cyberpunk. There's so many things I could be playing. But now I've got a date to try to achieve. That does sort of motivate me a little bit. It motivates
you
me
have to keep us
somewhat.
updated in our Discord server.
All right.
Oh, is that a special throwaway to the Discord server there, Richie?
Yeah, it is.
Wonderful. Yeah, you'll have to, Tom. But I can guarantee every one of our listeners and viewers has been there in that situation.
Yes.
I think as a gamer, you've all experienced something like that in life.
It's some days you just get home from work and you're just too tired to play a game. I just want to do something passive.
Yeah. Totally. And
sometimes I just want to play Killer Queen Black, available from Liquid Bit on Stadia. Very much worth checking out.
Multiplayer offerings than FIFA.
Yeah,
it certainly does. It certainly does. But yes, so Wrath of the Druids, it's been delayed. I didn't realise it was out this month, but the delay doesn't have that much impact. If the delay was like till the middle of summer, maybe. But obviously they run the risk with DLC of if they leave it too long, people will just become like, I haven't played Valhalla since probably January now, maybe middle of February when I wrapped up the main campaign. Then I switched over to Immortals, and that DLC for Immortals, which we're going to talk about in a moment, has been consistent every other month we've got something. So I keep going back to Immortals. Whereas Valhalla, I've had such a break from it now. The Druids thing hopefully does something exciting to get me back in, and I'm looking forward to it. But May 13th, ladies and gentlemen, Wrath of the Druids. Following on from that, as just mentioned, Immortals DLC. They've announced their third post-launch content, the Lost Gods DLC. Third narrative DLC from Immortals Phoenix Rising will launch on April 22nd for Switch, Stadia, second, gentlemen, PS5, PS4, Series X and S, Xbox One, PC, and Amazon Luna. That's interesting. Stadia in there, second after Switch. Unfold entirely... This is the weird DLC I mentioned you guys. So I've just finished, yesterday I finished the Myths of the Eastern Realm. So just to clear, remember, it was the first DLC was focusing on Phoenix in Mount Olympus, all that kind of stuff. Very similar to the main game, but with a lot more puzzles. Too many puzzles, some would argue, and a little bit more story. Second DLC, totally new character, totally new land, same game mechanics and everything, just with a total different mythology, looking at Chinese gods and their world and the heavens and the skies. Enjoyed it, felt very detached from the main game, if I'm honest. Like it should have been a sequel or another title completely. I don't know why it was the second DLC.
Another Immortals game.
Completely. Or a Gods and Monsters game. And then this third one, so just to describe it to you guys now, unfolding entirely from an overhead God's Eye perspective, the adventure centers on Ash, a new mortal champion, following a series of catastrophic disasters. Ash's mission is to travel to a new land, the Pirate Island, to find and reunite the gods who left Olympus in a huff after falling out with Zeus. These lost gods, including Poseidon and Hades, will all need to be convinced to return to the Pantheon and restore balance to the world. Naturally, there are plenty of monsters standing between them and Ash, it's like Pokemon, which players can dispatch using a new brawler-inspired combat system. More details DLC will reveal close to the time, blah blah blah, DLC, demos, etc. What the hell they're doing with this DLC, I have no idea.
Yeah.
So the third one is a top-down brawler combat game. It's so weird.
Like, either these are cut mechanics that they've decided we're just going to throw into the DLC because we've done a lot of work on them anyway, and they're quite interesting. Or they've been experimental to see what mechanics they could be putting into future games. If like the top-down stuff is a very different mechanic to the rest of the game, but if it works and Peters gets good reception, maybe that might be enough to greenlight a project that someone's working on.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it might be one of them. Ubisoft is like, we kind of like the idea, but we're not sure it'll work. Let's try it out in this place to see what the reception's going to be.
Yeah, well, it's so weird because obviously I've finished the whole game, like as much as I can possibly have completed in the game, and the fact that the third DLC is now introducing Poseidon and Hades, which I was hoping would be part of the main game. But now it's a top-down perspective with a different character. It kind of feels like it's so detached. It's impacting my interest in it, essentially. Whereas, like I said, the first DLC had the extra puzzles and the extra story, and it was a continuation of the main game, like most DLC is. And then the Eastern Realm one went so far afield, both geographically and in terms of the story. It just feels a bit detached, and I don't know if I'm enjoying it or... It's an odd take, to say the least.
You're probably enjoying it, but it feels a bit jarring because this is not the game I was playing.
It feels a bit hollow because it's different characters and different people. So yeah, but the mechanics of the game are super fun. Like the puzzles and stuff are really enjoyable. But it just feels like I'm playing a different game, which is an odd choice for your paid DLC content. But alas, April 22nd, I'll definitely jump in and finish it just to wrap up the whole Immortals story. Absolute great time. I'd actually argue I'd probably maybe put it more enjoyable than Valhalla at this point.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Cool.
To be fair, again, another game that I've got on my list of things to play. I was playing Immortals and really, really was enjoying it. Really was enjoying it.
I'll go back to it at some point.
Yeah, credit given to Ubisoft again.
This is not a backlog game for me, like that art in the backlog, because maybe I'd like to play it at some point. This is one I definitely want to play it, but other things keep capturing my attention at the wrong time. So
yeah, I'm in that boat now with Watch Dogs, because you all know I've got Watch Dogs still. Legion sat there, and I don't know, with like Mass Effect comes out in a few weeks, I'm thinking, do I start Watch Dogs now? But then at the same time, I'm also thinking, well, Immortals and Assassin's Creed DLC is out soon, so maybe that'll tie me over. And I feel like I'm just pushing Watch Dogs back further and further to a point where I never might play it, guys. Yeah. But I own it now, my own foolish fault. Final game of the week and of your breakdown is Risk of Rain 2, Tom. Another title that you're a massive fan of. The anniversary update, which I think did come to other platforms a little while back now, actually. Stadia getting it later than usual, which is expected. But plenty, like the bullet point list. If you head over to stadiasource.com, they have a fantastic breakdown of all of the new content. New systems, new items, features, skill variants, enemies. There's a whole long crazy list of big bosses and changes. Like, so much so you'll be scrolling for eternity to see all the changes. But it's good to see Risk of Rain 2 being supported with some additional content, all for free, of course, as well. And Tom, is this one that you'll be jumping back into instead of Valhalla, or?
Oh, not instead of Valhalla, but just having a look through it real quick. It's a proper list of patch notes. This is, so it's clear that with the anniversary edition, they've gone through some real sort of community feedback and made some updates. A completely new class as well, which is pretty awesome. A new character, the Bandit, who seems to be quite interesting. So I might have to give that a shot as well. But definitely one that I'll check out because I mentioned before, I really enjoyed Risk of Rain 2. Did the first look on it, and yeah, I'm all for going back and jumping into games that I really love and adore. So fantastic! I'm glad we've got it.
Might have to jump back into it on the first night one time.
We may do. We had a great time.
We played it before.
Really was. But that's it for the news this week. Before we do wrap up with the show, there is one only on Stadia segment we do need to address, because I almost forgot about it until I saw it show up, and we won't end on a negative, but Borderlands Showcase on Twitter, they on the official Stadia account put out that there's going to be a Borderlands show. We obviously had the free weekend last weekend to entice people in to try the game out, and yeah, there was going to be a stream on, I believe it was the Borderlands YouTube channel was supposed to be hosting an event for the game, I guess, and the event came and went, guys, with not a peep from anybody. To a point where people in the community were reaching out to both Gearbox, 2K, Stadia, asking, where's it at? When's it going live? Do you have a link? And there was nothing. No response for hours on end. And the only real response I was able to find was on Twitter. The official Google Stadia account replied to somebody's question. So this wasn't a post, like a main thread post. It was a response to someone's question. Sasha B asked, where is the stream? I'd hoped it came but got disappointed. Now I'm just sad. And they replied saying, due to unforeseen circumstances, the Borderlands 3 event mentioned in our most recent This Week on Stadia blog has been cancelled. We apologise for any inconvenience. That was it. Who's accountable here? I know I don't want to end on a bad note, but it's like, yeah, this is ridiculous. This just sorry for the inconvenience. Like, you were hosting an event promoting one of your games over a free weekend, and the most you do is reply to a question saying sorry for your inconvenience.
Well, they were supposed to not just be advertising the platform, but advertising the features. Crowdplay. They were supposed to be giving away copies of Borderlands 3 Ultimate Edition as well. So, of course, people are going to get the hopes of seeing that in a blog post. So it does seem like a bit of an only on Stadia, as we've coined it now. It's bizarre. It's very bizarre. The only reason I can see it being unforeseen circumstances is if some of the YouTube creators dropped out or decided for whatever reason that they didn't want to do it. I don't know. When you get third party involved, it can be difficult, can't it, sometimes?
Yep. Richie?
Shame. A real shame.
Yeah.
Shame.
Shame on you, and a shame for.
But it feels like if someone dropped out even last minute, you make an announcement that it's cancelled rather than just hoping people don't notice.
Shh. If we don't say anything, they won't notice. And everyone's gone, isn't this supposed to be like...
stand perfectly still?
Wasn't it meant to be a Borderlands thing?
Yeah. Again, it being on a Sunday is a bit of an odd choice for it. It would have been better to host it prior to the free weekend, so then everyone gets to see it, all the amazing features. Oh, by the way, it's free to try out now without a pro subscription. Click here, click the link. Which I'm sure was their intention. But yeah, just come out and say it. Like, stuff happens, shit happens. We know it does. We've had to cancel stuff in the past because of just something like our internet goes down or stuff gets in the way. But to just ignore it, again, it's all about just that saving face, that marketing, that public perception that you put out there. And there's nothing wrong with saying sorry due to unforeseen circumstances. We had to, but do it. Don't do it as a reply to somebody's question. Do it as a statement before the event time comes and goes. With nothing to say. That's like, I know we're only a small YouTube channel, but if Thursday night came at 8 o'clock and we didn't go live for our live stream and we just stayed silent on Twitter, nothing in Discord, and just like people would just ask, they'd want to know what's up, they'd want to know if we're okay, hopefully, but they'd also want to know like what's happening, because they might have set aside their time.
It has happened to us where we've had to cancel last minute, but then we went and pushed it out, we have cancelled, everything's fine, just other things got in the way, real life stuff.
Indeed. But
it happens.
It does. It's one of those little things. But again, just be human, just admit it and come out and tell us, but don't do it 6 hours after the event came and went, because people have expectations. And and we've all got high expectations for Stadia, gentlemen, because we love Stadia, and that's why we're here doing episode 82 of a Stadia-centric podcast. And it's not all doom and gloom. We've got plenty of games still coming out in the next coming weeks. We've got some big titles to look forward to. We've got some amazing news from big studios, Ubisoft, IO Interactive. Exciting times are certainly ahead. We've got Resident Evil Village on the horizon. We've got those premiere editions on the way soon, hopefully. Some of you cheeky people out there, us three included, may have even bagged yourself a Lenovo discount this past week. I don't know if it's still available, but yeah, us three went and checked out that Lenovo link, signed up to Lenovo Legion. I don't know what I've signed up to, but I've done it because it got me
You've
3 months.
The Legion, Chris.
It got the Legion of Doom. It got us 3 months of Stadia Pro for free. So I guess to end on a high note, we don't have to pay for Pro for the next quarter of the year, thanks to a little Lenovo promotion. So that can't be. Thank you, Lenovo. I don't own any of your tech, but thank you for adding me to your Discord channel. So go check that out. Link. I think it was 9 to 5 Google maybe who promoted it. Either way,
I found out off you, so
just Lenovo Stadia promotion. You'll be able to find it if it's still live. But thank you everybody who's tuned in to episode 82 of the Sounds of Stadia podcast. We've had a great show this week. Do remember to check out the Discord channel if you're interested in speaking to us three gentlemen and all the wonderful people as part of our community. Don't forget to give the video a like if you haven't done so already, and subscribe to the channel so you are kept in the loop with all things Sounds of Stadia, like our podcast, like our weekly live streams, live stream, and of course our topical SideQuest show brought to you by my host Richie. And Richie, what's our topic this week? We're going to be talking about.
We're going to be breaking down Stadia's most requested features.
Ooh, I love a good top 5, top 10 list, whatever it ends up being. And remember, folks, you could get that up to 5 days early by joining us on our YouTube membership program by clicking join down below if you're watching now on youtube.com/Sounds of Stadia, where from as little as 99p you can support us three gentlemen a little bit more, push us to elevate our content and bring you better quality stuff every week by just clicking that join down below. And nothing's kept behind a certain price wall, so just give as little or as much as you wish to, and you get a lovely little emoji badge, a premiere edition next to your name when you join us in the chat. That's all for this week. My name's been Chris.
I've been Tom.
I've been Richie.
We've been Sounds of Stadia. Have a great week, everyone. Take care and game on.
Be an awesome pirate.